All right. Hey, how you doing, brother?
What's up?
I'm glad to have you back. How
Yeah,
things how things going in South Carolina, brother?
it's going okay.
Well, that's good. And how's the family and everybody?
Everybody doing good.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I just I was in Houston last week. I know some of my friends that went down to Atlanta this week to go participate in the All Star festivities. I ain't, you know, trying to get involved in all that. But lot of change in the political landscape, as they say. So,
Yeah,
um, what do you think about the political landscape going on? And actually, we got to talk about Cuomo too, because Cuomo is a very interesting character these days with
yeah.
death counts and lawsuits. But we'll get to him later. But tell me your take on the current political landscape.
Well, I looked at that the House Resolution 46, 4416, I think it is, with the
On what?
gun background check.
Yeah, the one I sent you, right? Yeah, HR 4416. Yeah, that's the one. Or the 44. Yeah, that's the one. The gun background check. Extensive background check too, isn't it?
Yeah, it adds a little more. And I was looking at it with
Well, I
my
sent it
lady.
to you. I sent it to you basically with my version of why just looking at it, but I'm gonna let you explain it in more legal perspective.
Right.
They basically got the right to um basically inspect any.
Well, what it's doing is asking for if you got a gun with licensee. Licensee, that's the companies that sell the guns.
Yeah.
They're saying that they have to send in a review that they know that this person that you are buying a gun, from what their knowledge level is, that there's no violations of state law, federal law, et cetera, and that you buy the gun, you need to do in 10 days. You have to do a petition to the attorney general saying that uh, this, that, because if it goes past 10 days when they send it in, their review, then you have to submit a petition, and that petition could go past 10 days for them to review it, of the licensee saying that they don't have any reason that you violated section G or N of the act. And if something does come back, then they can rescind the transformation agreement of purchase, etc. So I thought that was pretty interesting. They were doing that now, but now what they're doing is they're investigating. They're making the licensee and the person, what's called the other person. It's this, the wording is other person who's purchasing. So they're checking, but everybody.
Yeah. So and that could be
But
real
here's
problematic.
that it doesn't take effect for 210 days. So basically, what they were doing, they're telling you, all their people, go get your guns, go get your guns, go get your guns, because in 210 days, we're coming back to check everything that you do with the purchase of a gun. So you got 210 days because it hadn't taken effect yet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but they basically we are living in what they call a communist Marxist state, which we talked about before.
Well, yeah, it's like a pre exemption period for you to go get your gun,
Yeah.
because they know that their people need to go get their guns. They're making it harder to just to get the guns, and they just uh, you basically, as a licensee, gonna have to know the person you selling to has a good background that doesn't violate section G or N of the act.
Well, that's just very scary. Now, you've also seen HR 127 introduced by Sheila Jackson Lee, and this is one by Clyburn. So two of the senior Black Democrats in the House of Representatives are introducing these bills.
What is it? HR 127? Yeah.
Another one.
Yeah.
This is the background one, HR 46.
Legislation Act?
Yeah. Yeah. But Clyburn's down there where you at right now.
Yeah, I used to work with Clyburn back in 2009 and 10, 11. Yeah, 2009, 10, about certain things. And this was when I was around, when I think Obama was running against
McCain.
Hillary. First time he ran. And they had the Democratic and the Republican convention in Myrtle Beach. They had it down there, and I was down there. I was at the actual convention, and that's why I got to meet Clyburn and set up some working with him and different things, and realized they're not the so-called Congressional Black Caucus they're not interested in helping us or working for the community, because I know a lot what they did in 2010. They got the Congressional Black Caucus. 2010, they created what's called the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, where they operate just like anybody that sets up a nonprofit or a foundation. You apply for federal money, etc. Well, the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation was set up in 2010 to apply for federal money. So the foundation that all of the Congressional Black Caucus members are members of this foundation. So they're getting this federal money to the foundation that they take, and they can control it and disperse who gets it. Like if I'm Chairman Butterfield and I get a call from Sheila Jackson Lee, she wants to give a friend of hers some money. She's giving a portion. They'll ask me for a portion, and so I forward the portion to them, and they get to control. They control who gets what, when they get it, and how much they get, which they keep within the coffers of the foundation to use as under their discretion, because the money is a grant to the foundation. It has nothing to do with the constituency. But they make it look like they give it to constituents. And I called Chairman Butterfield on it. Not Butterfield, Muhammad on it. That's through emails. And I said, and he said, what? And I said, we may have to sue you because you're getting money that the so-called Black community doesn't know about through the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation that nobody really knows exists. You can find it out, but you didn't tell nobody. And then he tells my bed, well, what money are you talking about? And then I laid it out to him, and he didn't respond. I still got the email.
Who is Muhammad? Now, who is Muhammad?
His name is. Let me log.
Is it Keith Ellison? Was it Keith Ellison? Was it Keith Ellison?
Let me see. Hold on. Come on. Hold on a second.
Might have been Keith Ellison, right?
No, let me see. His name is That thing moves so daggone slow. It was
This is in 2010, though, right?
This was actually 2016.
Okay.
And it was Lindsey Bowen, who was the scheduler for G.K. Butterfield, Congressman Butterfield.
Okay.
And I sent him all my information. Then he responded back, and he said, "Please feel free to share any pertinent information with Abdul Henderson."
Okay.
He had me to he shifted me over to Abdul Henderson, and of course, because I asked him for a meeting to discuss the plight and condition of us from the American Indian Moor perspective, as the owners of the government, with constitutional evidence, etc. And Butterfield sent me to Abdul Henderson. So I sent the email to Abdul Henderson. Then he finally responded back, and then that's when I explained to him about the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, legitimacy of work for the community. And he responded. I just went through a paragraph, and all he responded back, what money did the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation get that you're talking about? And then I laid it out to him. He didn't respond back to this day. That was 2016. I still got the email.
Okay, well, let me ask you a good question. So I want to switch bases and go to this so-called Equality Act, which you would know about if you read it.
Yeah, that one that Biden did with all the LGBT people in it. And
what? Well, it passed the House, yeah. It's not going to the Senate yet.
Yeah, and see, I was talking with Judge Joe. Huh?
Your thoughts?
Yeah, I was talking to Judge Joe Brown about that too. And Judge Joe Brown we were talking about that. They're bringing in the LGBT gay community to be in the forefront before us. So they're going to get everything. Then they came right behind that and created the Asian Equality Act, where hate speech against Asians and any derogatory, all this stuff in this executive order. And I'm looking at that, I'm like, they're not giving anything to our people. And see, we keep saying that we calling ourselves the wrong acronym. African American is not a race of people. Either you're American Indian or you're Chinese, French, Swedish, or something American. Because if you're from Sweden, you come to America, you're Swedish American. You got tied. See, I'm African American. We were already here. That's a whole nother story. And see, a lot of our people don't know. Like, see, there's two United States in the Constitution. There's Article 4, Section 2 mentions two states. The one's got privileges and immunities, and the other one doesn't, or the one is now entitled, rather. So all this is mentioned, and this is the jurisdiction that we're operating from. And why we're not getting what we think we should be getting.
Now, let me say something to you about that, because over the last couple of weeks, you've had a lot of stuff going on with, they talking about supposedly black people beating up Asians and all this stuff. Then they went so far to get Jeremy Lin to talk about it. Now, I'm like, we don't even live around Asians, so that don't happen unless something happens. Matter of fact, it's more that happen if an Asian beat us in the store, and then we might go do something. So the question I got to ask you is, that's a front to try to pass that Equality Act.
I don't even believe that. What they said, no, I don't. Just like I agree. There's no. We not beating up no Asians. We ain't beating up nobody.
Yeah. Now, what I did say this before to a friend of mine, I said, if we did do something to some Asians, right?
Right.
I said, if the stuff that we did might have been justified if they had been beating up on us, because nobody gonna let nobody just beat up on them. So most of the time, if we come to someone Asian, they did something to us, not us doing something to them.
Yeah,
so
and
they use this thing about Jeremy Lin. They use
who's an NBA basketball player. I didn't see that interview. What did he say?
Oh, he said that he was called coronavirus on the court, and people call him names and stuff on the court. And
that may have happened. I wouldn't say that didn't happen, because he's from China.
But here's the thing, and they talking about racism against Asians, but then he said, I'm not gonna say who said it or when it was said. I'm like, well, Jeremy, if that's the case, 80% of the NBA or G League or whatever is black. So, and last year he didn't even play in the NBA. He was out of the NBA. I don't know.
He was overseas.
Yeah,
he was overseas the last 2 seasons. I think it was the last 2 seasons.
So he playing in G League now, but that's beside the point. I'm just saying that they're using him as somebody. I'm like, look, man. So the thing about Asian, then you even Al Sharpton go down to New York and have I don't know if it was New York, whatever Al Sharpton was, he had a protest for Asians. He said it himself. And he got out there and said, when you attack an Asian, you attack all of us.
See, that's that Sambo mentality sellout. Because it's not Uncle Tom. Uncle Tom was the good guy. So to call somebody an Uncle Tom is misrepresentation, because that's not even the storyline. If the majority of us haven't even read Harriet Beecher Stowe's book, Uncle Tom's Cabin. Uncle Tom was the great guy. He was a good guy. He was the hero. Sambo in the story is the sellout. Al Sharpton is a Sambo.
Yeah. Now, I'm a little bit, now I'm going to get, because I got a couple of things I want to say about what you're saying about Mr. Not Sharpton, but this Asian thing, and they try and tie it to the Equality Act. But there's also one little caveat in the Equality Act nobody's talking about. That Equality Act will take away the funding of HBCUs unless they agree to what? Allow the transgenders to come in their schools.
Yeah, I saw that.
So you got to get federal funding to be able to, if you don't allow the HBCU, if you don't want to, the federal money, your HBCU will be no more. You have to allow the trans in.
Right. And see, because Trump gave all HBCUs, put them on a 10-year permanent funding.
Yeah.
Guaranteed for 10 years, every 10 years, they just come up for renewal, and then raise it to 14% from where it was. This executive order is totally dismantling that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I just look at a lot of our people or should be seeing that this president administration is not for us. It's not going to help us. It's just not going to help us.
Now I want to get to somebody of interest, because you ran into him or whatever, Mr. Cuomo in New York, right?
Yeah.
He's been doing a whole lot. First of all, undercounted deaths, which I'm going to get to that. That's another story, because I got a personal story to bring in here. Number 2, sexual assault, which I already knew whatever.
Right.
But the third thing is he's opening things back up, but he wants vaccine passports to come to games or negative tests for sporting events and stuff like that by IBM. I think IBM is a company that's sponsoring this stuff. Now, the question is, I'm going to tell you just a personal story, and then I'll just bring it on. So I had a friend of mine a couple weeks ago that went to go get was going to be like a nurse or applying, and she happened to say, well, can I go, where's a COVID test at? Went to take a COVID test, and then then after took the COVID test came back a couple days later, and she said that she was positive, by through text, whatever. So I haven't heard from her. I told her, you shouldn't go and take the test, but it is what it is, right? Now, that would tell me that the test is in the swab. The virus is in the swab. But I'm saying myself, Sakima, and I'm just saying this to you. Would you first of all this vaccine stuff they're trying to pull out, why are we even buying this stuff? Like, I mean, like, what's going on? I mean, like, first of all, it's not a vaccine. It's called experimental biological agent because of the simple fact of how can you say there's a vaccine when it has not been approved? It's under emergency authorization. Now, I want to come back to something about this. The vaccine thing, Cuomo and them, and everybody, especially all the black sellouts or Sambos, whatever you want to call them, they are pushing this thing full steam. I mean, you're talking about people like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Now, this is my thing. If I'm not sick, there's no reason for me to get tested. So why you want me to get tested? Why are you trying to get me to take this vaccine? That doesn't need to be a question, right? But one of the things this $1.9 trillion stimulus package is more vaccines. And they're trying to bring them in your neighborhood now. They bring it.
They're
I
going
don't
to
in
Texas.
Richmond. They got a gate for it.
They're getting pastors of our mega churches and small churches to. They're sending them letters. They send them letters, emails for them to promote the vaccine in their community.
Or they won't get funded.
Well, the ones that are getting that 501c3 money, yeah, they got to push it. And it's like, the people that's giving it in Tuskegee experiment, and then the test, the cotton swab, it's about this long, right?
Yeah.
That's not cotton at the top.
That's a nanobots.
And they're alive. And they go up into your brain. That's what caused the headache, because they're up there navigating through your brain to damage certain neurons and protons in your brain, where you get a headache or you start your nose bleeding. So I wouldn't even recommend the test. I'm not getting none of that stuff. And I tell everybody, don't do it. The sister sent me, who's a nurse, sent me a video of her pulling it apart and holding them together, and the nanobites were fighting to get back close together, like in the Terminator.
Let me say something. When I was in Texas, I was meeting some great people. One of them, great sister Dawson, but she's also a nurse. Yeah, she's also a nurse. So shout out to Nurse Dawson. Also, they got an organization called Black Gold Nation. I would tell my followers to look it up and donate to her and her organization. What is it? $ sure 1981. Let me look up her cash app. I mean, I donate to all the time, but I forget. But she's also a nurse, and she is well aware of that. It's $ sure 8106, and I'll put it in the chat because she needs to be commended for at least speaking about the vaccines, because a lot of nurses and doctors is not speaking up. So shout out to Sherry Dawson for her commentary on the vaccines and being transparent with the people, because a lot of nurses and doctors do not do that. But yeah, so I'm glad that she brings it up. But I didn't even know this. I used to work in pharmacy tech, and one of the reasons why I couldn't deal with it sooner or later, because they tell you that you're supposed to be transparent with their patients, but then they really don't want you to tell the truth of what's in this medicine. So it's kind of like, this is not really for me. But yeah, but like you said, the nanobots, and also in the vaccine, and I've seen some people take it that took it. They got they have a card with tell the next appointment and stuff like that. And now Johnson & Johnson say you don't need one shot. Now Johnson & Johnson couldn't even get you straight on baby powder. So why in the hell would I take anything by Johnson & Johnson?
Yeah, I'm not taking no vaccines. I'm not getting no testing. And I tell everybody, don't stay away from that. Just change your diet. Start eating healthy. Get some natural supplements, liquids to start taking while you get off of them. Don't eat as much meat. The goal is to get off of it, but stop eating as much meat as possible.
Now I got a question for you here. This is gonna be a good question to ask. So, okay. Now you realize over the last week, and I'm gonna get back to Cuomo in a minute. Well, this ties into Cuomo actually too. BLM, right?
Right.
The father of Michael Brown is saying, "Wait a minute, I want $25 million for what y'all did in Ferguson and all this money you raised." Now you already knew about BLM and their lesbian marxists and all that, but now he's saying that y'all profited off my name, but y'all not giving none of the funds back. So what do you think?
Yeah, they should. I mean, Black Lives Matter. What is the purpose of it? Raising awareness or pursuing to help families that were victimized? You raise money, and what you gonna do with the money? Put it in your pocket? You should give a stipend at least to the families who you are supporting or arguing for, or they should get something
Supposedly.
out of it. Yeah, they should get something out of it. I mean, because
Well,
if you
we'll
don't,
see.
I mean, you keep a portion to keep the organization thing running, but you're using the tragedy to make money. Now, if you give them some money, then it won't be viewed or looked at or criticized because you're trying to help the families. But as usual, they want to get rid of the family. They don't want the. I don't know if many of your people have y'all looked at the Georgia Guidestones?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure people looked at it.
Yes, Elberton, Georgia. City's right outside of Atlanta. Elberton, Elberto, in Elberton, Georgia. And this three-pronged monument says on there in 7 languages, they're going to reduce the population
The 500 million people.
500 million. 500 million. There's between 6 and 7.2 billion people on the planet. China has 2, 2.5. India has over 1, and then the rest is spread out through the world. So all these, from these billions down to 500 million, that's a lot of people that got to die. And
Yes.
this vaccine is a contributor because some of the people that I know, this guy, Rashid Buttar, the doctor.
Yeah, I know Doctor. Yeah, I know Doctor Rashid Buttar.
He's saying that this vaccine is designed to be inside you for 6 to 7 months, and then it's going to start damaging and taking away from the life force of your body. You end up dying in 8 to 10 months from the vaccine. Because that's what happened. Hank Aaron did it. 4 months he died. I think it was 4
I
months.
thought it was 2 weeks.
It was Larry King. Larry King had took it too. The same round of six. It was Larry King. I think it was Larry King. It was 4 months. But yeah.
Okay. Now I don't know. The other day they had Savior's Day, and Farrakhan was talking about the vaccination. Don't take it. Then he said that the entertainers come on and take the vaccine like the great betrayal. But what he was saying is that they trying to say that if you don't take it, you can't fly an airplane or something. He said, "Who needs your airplane?" So really, tell you, if they tell you that you can't come and it's like medical apartheid, you just got to find another way to make it. That's all.
Yeah, you just can't. You have to fly, get there another way. You can get a ship, pay people to get there. Before planes was made, that's how we got across the Atlantic.
Yeah. So
You
but
pay on
let
the
me ask you
cargo
a question.
ships.
But the fact that you see this stuff in it now, I'm actually one other thing. I don't know if you saw the CPAC speech because I watched it. Now they're trying to delete it, but Trump came out and spoke.
Yeah, I saw it.
I do think, in all honesty, that they're going to lose the House, but a lot of people don't know they still got states where election fights are still going on, which is mighty fun.
In about 10, I think it's 10 states that all were awarded that there was voter fraud
That's right.
in the states. So now it's formulating, either go to the state appeals or going to the Supreme Court. But they found all of these voter fraud from the forensic accounting and the audit of the voting ballots from the machines, for this company in Canada. So it's a lot going on that the media ain't reporting.
Well, yeah, it's right, and it's mighty funny they're not reporting it because I mean, like they tell you, like the Supreme Court shot down the election challenge, but they got so many challenges. I think actually Trump won about 16 cases, and I think he lost like 20. But there's a lot of stuff going on behind. Arizona, they had to go to their Senate to get the machine, so a lot of stuff is still going on. And
Smartmatic software and yeah, that's what. But see, this is the thing. If you don't understand law or don't know law, you would think what the way the media pointed, he's lost every suit. No, they never looked at the evidence. All the cases when they initially filed them, they've never looked at the evidence. The case comes in, they gave it to the judge. The judge just took it, dismissed it, didn't look at nothing in there. So the merits, it's called the merits of the case, were never adjudicated, never heard.
That's right.
That's what's happening now.
Well, that's what I tell people. He never. I said in reality, of 5 election lawsuits, Trump hasn't really lost any case because none of them have been heard.
The evidence was never viewed. This is where you get cases overturned, like in the story, the Hurricane. Y'all saw the movie The Hurricane. Remember, he was in jail for all that time on fabricated evidence, and the fabrication of the evidence had holes. So when they came back years later, they found the holes, presented the evidence that was not allowed for all the time he was in jail. So the merits of the evidence were not looked at until that particular time. The judge looked at it. Oh yeah, there is a discrepancy. Boom, it was falsified, and that's what happened with the Trump cases for the voter fraud stuff.
Now I got one more question to ask you. I'm gonna get to with two. So one of them with Cuomo, right? Shouldn't he be like, instead of getting impeached, shouldn't he have criminal convictions against him for hiding the number of those deaths in those nursing homes?
He could, but will the attorney general, that sister, she going after him, and it's some Democrats in the state of New York filing complaints and for an investigation to file a complaint, because Congress cannot file charges. They can only inquire. They can only ask questions and investigate. When they compile their evidence, they can then hand it over to the state attorney general. Now, because it's the people saying it, now the attorney general has to go in to panel a grand jury, present the evidence, then they file formal charges to the governor. Because that's what, like they did in China when they was killing off when Mao Zedong. A lot of y'all may not remember Mao Zedong, but because I'm 58, so I remember this stuff when I was in junior high and high school. How they suppressed Tiananmen Square, where you see this picture of this young guy standing in Tiananmen Square, and the tank in China was rolled up on him, and the train tries to go around him, and he moves and steps in front of it. Well, that was all the stuff that he was doing to his people. And this is what they're going to try to get Cuomo on. Yeah, he's killing off his own people. That's illegal. Yeah. That's a violation of the International World Court, even though you have to volunteer to be a part of the World Court. You can't, because every country is sovereign in itself. They have to agree to join the World Court, to be issues brought against them, to be while they agree to be in it, then they can be sued, but they can still pull out and say, "Well, we're not dealing with that." So it's like an organization that you can be a part, you be joined to be a part of. But if the things start getting bad against you, and you're the baddest one in the group, out. And who gonna make you? Who gonna make you stay?
All right. Now, in the other hand, I was looking at something yesterday. Hey, Shaq. Um, about Mrs. Obama, whatever, interviewing Dwayne Wade's son, which was very, very sickening.
I
That
didn't see
she's
that.
Women's
I
History
heard about
Month.
it. Right?
Yeah, Women's History Month. She got dragged and stuff, but they removed the speech off in some places. But I just want to say, with that, the removing speeches, they've been removing a lot of stuff about vaccines, election. This censorship stuff is kind of like that fourth right thing, isn't it? Third right, fourth right thing. So
That's
they've been getting
that.
real censorship. Isn't
Yeah,
this a
this is
violation
all.
of First Amendment rights?
Yeah. Now here's the thing. Do we have constitutional rights? That's the question I'm asking. Do we have a constitutional right?
After the election, I would say no.
Well, let's say before the election. Do you have a constitutional right?
Once you're in a state of emergency,
Let's say before with no emergency.
I'm gonna say yes, but you can probably say no, right?
If you say yeah, show me in the Constitution where it says we have a constitutional right. It's not in there. It doesn't exist. The only thing that the Constitution talks about is privileges and immunities. That's Article 4, Section 2.
Okay.
Citizens of each state shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of citizens in the several states. So the citizens of the several states already have privileges and immunities, and now the citizens of each state are entitled to get them. We have a privilege and an immunity, not a constitutional right. Now from Amendment 1 to 12, you have which is called the Bill of Rights. They're not in the Constitution, but they go with the Constitution. Like your shirt, your hat, that's not you. They go with you. You put them on. So the being is the Constitution. So you put your shirt on, your hat, which is the Bill of all these added things. The Bill of Rights, freedom of the press, freedom of speech, right to all those things. That's a Bill of Rights. But the constitutional right, and there's a big difference. There's no such thing as a constitutional right. There's a constitutional privilege and a constitutional immunity. That's Article 4, Section 2 of the Constitution.
Gotcha. Well, okay. Now I do want to say this to you about that. So they just because they going gun ho right now with everything. Unfortunately, they're gonna lose some seats in the they're gonna lose a lot of House seats probably next election. But they have been bringing up the concept of or study of reparations. What do you think about it?
I agree with Judge Joe Brown, and we talked about it because those people are dead. 1865, they were free. Then they had children. 1865, 75, 85, 95, 1890, 10, 50, that's 50 years. So then by 100 years, we're in the 1900s. So we're talking, we're in the next generation from the slaves who were freed. So 1900 is their children. Then they had children. 1900 all the way up to 1960. All those people have died. So now, who do we pay reparations to? They should, and that's number two. That's number one. Number two, we don't need reparations. They should, instead of us writing a check, sending everybody a check, no, don't do that. If anything, they need to issue each person a letter of credit where you get free college, access to one-time loans for a purchase of a house, a one-time loan to start a business, that should be that type of thing would be a good reparation. We don't need no money in our hands. We've already proven with Katrina that when the FEMA went down there to give money, $2,500 they were handing out to people in Louisiana, the FEMA cards. For 6 months, you were getting $2,500. You remember the girl went and bought a Louis Vuitton purse? You remember her?
I don't remember that girl, but I can look it up.
And then what they did, the media went to the store owner and blasted him out. Why'd you sell her that Louis Vuitton purse? And she was and it's Katrina and all the people down. He said, "Look, stop. She has the right to do whatever she wants to do. I'm in the business of selling. The money doesn't tell me don't take it because it's a government handout. So you need to go talk to her." So that's what I think. If we're gonna get reparations, that's the way I think we should get it. For 50 years, a 50-year max. So you talk about generations.
Okay, now let me say something. Okay, I don't particularly go on that all the way, but I will say that you can't have money. You need to have land and other things along with money. If you ask me,
Put that in
land,
there. Put that in there. How many
land,
acres? 40 acres?
tax free status, and so forth and so on.
Add
Or
those to the list.
yeah.
Because see, here's the thing: the 40 acres and a mule, people really have never studied that. That was a military order. I think it was Military Order 75 by William T. Sherman. You heard about Sherman's March, right?
Yeah, everybody should know.
Radius from I think Savannah all the way to Atlanta, and just wiped out everything. And they go, and when they finished and got to Atlanta, he contacted the majority of all the so-called black preachers during the time, and they came up at a meeting he stated to give 40 acres and a mule to all the free slaves of the land that they just plowed 60 miles wide from Savannah to Atlanta to all the free slaves. That's where the 40 acres and a mule came from. All you gotta do is get Sherman's order, I think it's Military Order 75, and you read it. And it tells you right in there, which he made this, and then what he did, he sent to Lincoln the statement to do that, and of course they reneged on that.
Okay, now I got another question for you here. So, because when I hear about these politicians talking about it, I'm feeling that they're gonna try to pass something for reparation for everybody, and they're gonna get way more than you. And they're gonna try to do it. We trying to equal everybody. Everybody's a reparation. Hispanics, gays, blacks, and then you're gonna get the least end of the stick again.
Yeah, I agree with Claude Anderson, Dr. Claude Anderson. Reparations should only be for black people, not like you say, Asians, midgets, humpbacks, whales, frogs. Nobody else should get any of that but us. Yeah. Because like the 14th Amendment was only written for the freed slaves. Exclusively. Okay. People don't know that. A lot of people don't know that. That was only for us. Actually, the 13th and the 14th Amendment was only for so-called black people.
So now I got a question. So like I said, I'm gonna try to go probably about 30 more minutes, but I'm gonna try to get some calls in. So right. I'm gonna let some people call if they want to talk to you. But so I just want you to break down maybe about 2 treaties or whatever that you could bring up where you were supposed to get land grants, reparation stuff, because you could bring up some treaties too, right?
Yeah, 1866 treaty.
Okay.
Is one, and
This brother right here, he talks about treaty. Yeah, he talks about treaties sometimes. That's one reason why I brought that up.
He said piggyback off.
Off of what he's saying is the reason why it needs to be a check, full reparation plus land.
Right. See, that should be in the package that we don't get a check in the mail. A name of a list like they did in 1868, 3 years after the Civil War. The government sent out representatives throughout the South, because the Civil War was only basically throughout the South, to sign all black people back into the United States.
Yep.
White people saw this, wanted to put their name on the roll, because the original black people were the American Indian prior to 1861. After 1865, you get the Native American, which is the fake $5 Indian. That who was out here now. That's why a lot of the Indians look Caucasian, and that wasn't. There's so many, like Claude Anderson says it. Judge Joe Brown says it too, and there's a couple others. But there's a lot of scholarship out to verify it too. There's one book deals with it's a book called White Servitude in Colonial South Carolina. The author's name, I have the book, but I can't remember the author's name. But the title is White Servitude in Colonial South Carolina. The majority
is it Henry? What's his name? Is it Henry something?
White servitude in colonial South Carolina. And the majority of the landowners was so-called black women. Well, because they were all the Native American Indian. Right now, I'm doing some land patents for a tribe, for a sister and her husband who reclaiming their Indian culture status, Moorish Indian culture status. She's got 20 land patents. She sent me 15, so I finished all the 15. I'm sending it back to her. She has the actual land patent from either President David Gallinson, the book White Servitude in Colonial South Carolina. The title, White Servitude in Colonial South Carolina, by David Gallinson. David Gallinson.
David Gallinson, okay.
I did 15 land patents for her. She's got the actual land patents that was signed to her great-great-grandfather and on down the line, from Martin Van Buren, Millard Fillmore, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, signed to her family. Now, the majority, 160 acres here, 80 acres there, 159 acres here, and there's 15 of them. I got them in there on the table. This land that was been returned belongs to the so-called American Indian, because under 83 CFR, which is Code of Federal Regulations, it tells you specifically and exclusively there's two types of Indians, and there's two ways to reclaim your Indian status. You have what is called recognition, and then you have what is called acknowledgement. You don't want to go into recognition because the BIA takes on what is called tribes that are coming up to reclaim an Indian status under recognition. When you apply for recognition under the BIA, Congress then appoints a House of Representatives to manage the affairs of your tribe, who gets the money first, and then they send down whatever they want. You go through acknowledgement, through the Office of Federal Acknowledgement, to do it yourself as a tribe, but you got to have all your paperwork in order. And all that means is you're just getting federal money. Just get back federal. It doesn't deny you or delay you or terminate, say you can't be an Indian. They can't do that. It's like saying a woman, she come into the room and a bunch of men, we don't have to, and she don't have to say she's a woman. We can look and see that she's a woman. So for us to say, oh, you're not no woman, well, this is what the Department of Interior would do, which they don't have the authority to do. So these are things that we have to start looking into, because whether you have documentation that you are an American Indian or not, you still can make a claim. And this is some stuff I do for people.
Well, let me say something about that. You're 100% right, because it's very weird that, like I said, these what do you call it, $5 Indians, they rather do look rather white, don't they?
Yeah. And see, like I was talking to my lady friend overnight about the 1619 project, and I asked her if she had heard of it. You've heard about the 1619 project?
Yeah, that's the one that Trump scrapped.
Right. Where they're going back, they're trying to bring the indentured servant into the reparations argument to do what? Take our place to receive reparations. Like they're trying to do with this act, Equality Act, to give these LGBTGXYZ legitimacy. Because here's the thing. I tell her, like, there ain't no race of people. What's the LGBT? What the hell is what is the LGBT ABC 1, 2, 3? What is that? That ain't a race of people. These people, if you want to be with a man, go ahead. You want to be with a woman, help yourself. Just don't be trying to push that on me for your behavior. That's no different than me being a chain smoker. I'll smoke a pack of cigarettes in 2 minutes, or alcoholic. That's a behavior. And that, in this case, this is a private behavior. What do I care about your private sexual life? I don't care about that. Why you got to tell me? Why I got to know that? Well, what do I care? Right.
Speaking of that, I'm glad you brought them up, though, because a lot of that stuff, human smuggling and trafficking, going on at that border, and they trying to let all these illegals in at the present time.
Their Biden administration have let, I think they said 100,000 or 70,000 between
9,000. 9,000.
And they're putting them on buses, taking to various cities.
That's right.
To start life. And they're giving them social security numbers, driver's license. They didn't test. They tested them. I think they did not test them for COVID, and they're sending them to these states. And they had gotten their here illegally. I just saw this on what's today? Saturday. I just saw this Thursday.
So this is what you call the Negro Replacement Project.
It is the total Negro replacement project. And this is what gets me is our so-called politicians and everybody that voted for Biden. You know, see, he's turning on you. Now, here's the other thing. I'm not a Republican. I'm not no Republican. The majority, some of the things that Trump implemented, I voted for and I agree with. There's a lot of things that Trump implemented I don't agree with. Who's ever implementing the Constitution, rule of law, dealing with the courts, federal law, I'm going to support that. Whoever's the closest, I got to support that. Now, there's like the Trump administration was pro-life. I'm not pro-life. I believe a woman should be able to do what she want to do with her body. She should have the right. And if she decides she wants to keep it or have an abortion, that's her right. The other thing is I don't agree with is that the government should pay for it. Take my money to pay for that. I don't agree with that. It should be made, the market should be implementing this procedure, not Planned Parenthood, which is getting federal money, my money, to do that. I don't agree with that.
Right. Now, on the other end, I think she should keep it, but that's we ain't gonna sit there and get into that too much. I'm just saying, but I see what you're saying, and also with the Affordable Care Act, I don't think that your money should be going to fund transgender reassignment surgery.
That's insane, and that's a behavior. That's not a race of people. LGBTXYZ is not a race of people. That is a sexual behavior. that you're trying to take and make a race of people? Come on, man.
Well, I want to say about that. And one thing more thing about the people they're bringing in legally, they've been catching them on trucks, buses. One of them got hit in California on the thing, on a in the back of a SUV, and it was, I think it was 13 or maybe more than that on there. But
it was a burgundy SUV. I saw that, and it went off the road. They were driving. They were driving in the section where the fence is not completed, and they hit some ditch, and the thing rolled over down a little embankment, and that's how they got killed.
Okay, now, you do know these people are going to be getting sooner or later. Some of them are getting employment opportunities and taking them away from us, right?
They're going to get all the low-level jobs, just like Dr. Claude Anderson said, and Judge Joe Brown said, and I agree with them. They're going to take away all the low-level jobs because what they're going to do, they're all available right now, but we ain't taking them. McDonald's, Wendy's, janitors, cooks, dishwashers, they're going to flood all of those jobs.
Yeah, and
if I was to go move to a foreign country and I had no skill, I got to take what I can get. I got to take what's available. Well, what's available in America? Those jobs.
Okay, they're playing a game. They're putting their kids out front as though they had no parents. Yeah, that's another thing this guy down in Washington saying. They're putting them out front as if they had no parents. Actually, to tell you the truth, they also using these children in human smuggling and sex trafficking rings too. Pedophiles.
Yep, that's where they got these children from. And they're stealing them and just taking them and putting them with parents, and paying the parent to take them all across the border. You'll get X amount of more money when you get across. This is insane, man.
Well, let me ask a question. Some of these children, you know, there was that they've been getting was in the Pizzagate thing.
Yeah, the whole thing about the Pizzagate. It was a pizza restaurant downtown Washington, D.C. Hillary Clinton's server is in Chappaqua, New York City. So she had a to the State Department because she was Secretary of State. So you got this pyramid. Secretary of State having emails transferred to the server at the pizza restaurant in D.C., then transported to her house in Chappaqua, New York. So she was operating from there, and the 30,000 emails were all the dignitaries of countries, CEOs of companies, NFL players, NBA players, Major League Baseball players, actors, producers, musicians, presidents of countries, all a part of this pedophile ring. The pizza, they would call a menu, and the pizza represented a girl with extra sauce. That means she was a little girl, a young girl. And the hot dogs was the young guys with extra mustard or that. Those were young guys. That's what was deleted.
And you know what? And Obama and all of them, Hillary Clinton were all involved.
Every single one. Biden, Podesta, Uma Abedin, Pelosi, Uma Abedin, some of the Congressional Black Caucus members, Sheila Jackson Lee. Remember Al
Green.
He's involved in that too. You remember when Sheila Jackson Lee was on the Judiciary Committee? I think it was the Judiciary Committee. Her manager of her office raped one of the interns.
Yep.
And she was brought to the carpet, and then she had to step down.
I remember. Anybody want to ask Dr. Sakima Bey some questions? Call in number 757-986-0160. But Yeah, but it's in the chat. But yeah, that's very sick. What's going on there? But I'm glad that a lot of people starting to wake up and learn this stuff.
Can you excuse me for a minute? I need to run to the bathroom.
Say what again? Go ahead. Yeah, but that's getting very sick when you talk about Pizzagate and all this other stuff. He's getting very, very sick. Who the fuck is this? No? Hello.
Yeah, what's going on with you?
What's going on, bro? How you been?
Nothing much, just chilling.
Okay. Yeah, he went to the bathroom, but he'll be like what you got?
I was gonna say, when it comes to the LGBT, since they want reparations so bad, they got some land over there in Africa. It was called Sodom and Gomorrah. That land. They can go over there, they can chill, they can kick it, they can do whatever they want to do over there. You see what I'm saying? And then that'll stop the madness here in America. You want to be LGBTQ? Y'all want all that? Y'all want to walk around and do them strange things? Boom, there's some land right there that y'all can be.
What you got? Hold on. What you got to say about that, Dr. Sakima?
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Because see, it's like Dr. John Henry Clark said, Dr. Ben Janakinen said, Cheikh Anta Diop, and Dr. Ivan Van Sertima. They all said we did not have this practice of homosexuality in our construct of our mind. It didn't ever existed until we got dealing with these Caucasians.
That's right, Robert. Anything else you gotta say?
And I would say, for as reparations for Black people, I get what he's saying, and I totally feel him. But I do feel like, because it's our money. So, we can't really tell nobody how to spend their money. You get the money and you mess it up. Hey, you on your own. If you homeless, if you take a $300 and something thousand and you go buy some shoes or you go buy a Ferrari or whatever it is, hey, you on your own with that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you busted, bro. Hey, you on your own because you was paid. Now the white man, I ain't gonna say the white man. I ain't gonna do them like that. Now they was gracious enough to give us this. It was stated that God was going to bless us with this. So we just need to take our blessing and get out the way. Now, if you a dummy and you don't go get you a house, or you don't go get you some land, or you don't go get you something, then you're on your own. You don't take it, you don't go get you a business, or you don't put it towards anything that's going to make you and yours successful, then you get everything you got coming to you. If you take it and you go get some dope, then you need to be locked the hell up. And I want you locked the hell up, because this is a time that we need to get together as a race of people and start handling our business. Now, if you want to be a dummy and you don't want to come together like this, so that way we can be protected as a group, then hell, take your money and go on about your business. But hey, if something happens between you getting that money and you squandering it off, or you dying, hey, you're on your own, because the debt was paid. And that's pretty much all I have to say. But he is right, and some of the land of things that he was talking about for as those peace treaties, I have some of them written down. I just got to go through my stuff and find some stuff.
Well, look, bro. Why don't you know what you need to do with him then? You might need to, get his email and stuff like that, and y'all discuss that stuff. What do you think about that, Dr. Sakima?
I'm gonna put it up at the end.
Yeah, put the email at the end, brother. That's a good plan. Let's get to it, Rob. Well, look, Rob. Yeah, Hey, thanks for calling in, brother. That was pretty good, man. I like that. Good job. No problem, brother.
Here's another thing. we should not be suing and dealing with reparations and say, oh, we need to sue the government. Well, no, because the government didn't do anything to us. The person that we need to sue for reparations is the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party. The Democrat Party. Why? The Democrat Party started the Civil War. Let's go back, because the Democrat Party was the Democrat Party officials were the ones that implement slavery. All of the slavery implementation was through Democrat officials. All of them were Democrats. All of them were Democrats. So you have to sue because the Democrat, that's number one. Two, the Civil War was started by the Democrat Party of leaders because they wanted to keep slavery. They went and broke into, stole a coup d'etat, Fort Sumter in Charleston, South Carolina. Number three, the black codes, the slave codes, Jim Crow. Those are all Democrat policies from Democrat leaders. Andrew Jackson was a Democrat that killed us off and our ancestors off and stole our land. That was all Democrat Party. The Ku Klux Klan was started by the Democrat officials. You got some Republicans that joined it later, but the leader of it and the creator of it was the Democrat leadership. So we should sue the Democrat Party. The so-called Jews, they didn't sue Germany. They sued the Nazi Party. They sued the Nazis because that's who put them in the concentration camps.
Through the Democratic Socialists of America.
And they had control of the government at the time. So by the time Hitler was killed and run out, when the Jews got their stuff together, they came back after the Nazi Party because the Nazi Party still existed and it had changed its name. So that's who they filed suit against. And they enjoined the German government. So the German government, to settle their portion, they got with the Nazi Party, and they've been stipending the so-called Jews since 1942. That's how we're supposed to do it. But our so-called these attorneys that we got, they ain't full of crap. They ain't about nothing. And that's who we need to. If we're gonna sue the Democrat Party, not the government. We can enjoin them, but you go after the Democrat Party because those are the ones that had the policies and the procedures to perpetuate slavery, continue slavery, and then continue to enslave us commercially, black codes, Jim Crow law, etc. Klan.
Hold on. Okay, I got another call. Hold on a minute. I wonder who this is.
Right. The Dixiecrats was the Democrats.
Hold on.
Those Democrat officials.
Hello, can you hear me? Anybody there?
Hello?
Oh, how you doing, sir? Oh, Shaq, what's going on, bro? Go ahead.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Doing all right?
How you doing, baby?
He said, how you doing? Go ahead, Shaq, go ahead.
Hey, yeah, I was trying to ask a question, like you said, because I had sent BJ a video of this young lady. She was having an issue with the CFS or the CPS, Child Protective Service in Las Vegas. They took her daughter from her, and they was trying to send her papers. They took her daughter saying that she was she was an unfit mother or something like that, or she was endangering a minor or something like that. And they illegally obtained her daughter. Like I said, she didn't have no court hearing or nothing, but she's going through the proceedings now. But she was making a point that CPS is they have been doing a lot of solo or single parents like that. They'll snatch the babies up and basically they're put them into the adoption agency that either European families or mixed families or these transgender and these LGBT families end up getting the babies and stuff like that. Have you heard anything about that on the back end?
Did I hear anything about what? I didn't catch that last part.
He said he didn't catch the last part. He said he didn't catch the last part. You said.
Oh, well, what I was trying to correlate with what you guys are talking about, like with the sex and with human trafficking and stealing the babies, I've heard stories about some of the American women, especially black single women, their babies have been snatched through the CPS system, child protective system, and the babies have been, put in adoption to European families, well-off families, LGBT families and stuff like that. Have you heard any information on that?
Did I hear about the women trafficking? I don't know, he faded out again. About the women trafficking and what?
Women trafficking and child protective services.
And that was good stuff he's saying is going on now, or he wants to
Yeah, he said it's going on now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's going on now. They just busted it was yesterday that this van in California had about, I think it was 35 people that they were running through one of the social organizations there in California, and they arrested a government official.
Yep, I did hear about that yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this young lady, she was saying the same thing happened to her. But see, she had a baby. She had a napkin birth. She did the lotus birth, right? And she's claiming her Moorish American heritage. She's claiming all her. You know what I'm saying? And she's thinking they went after her because she's claiming her Moorish heritage and stuff like that, and they end up taking the baby from her. She's going through still, and trying to get her daughter back from out of the CFS or CPS system.
Yeah, I had a situation like that with a sister in Atlanta. One of the things that she's going to have to do, just in short, all children are property of the state. She's going to have to argue that because see, when she had that child, she filled out the application. I don't know if she filled out an application for Social Security card or birth certificate.
She didn't do it. That's what I'm saying.
So what? So I would have to talk with her.
Yeah.
To see what she did. Two, to see what they're charging her with, because it could be child endangerment. It could be reckless child care. And a lot of these charges, like those type of charges, those are not even law-based charges, jurisdictionally. Especially if she filed specific documentation stating who she is, what her status is, and done away with all her contracts that makes her child property of the state.
But I think when she studied the law, so she's trying to know herself, but she was saying here legally, because she said she didn't even have a hearing yet. She haven't even had a hearing or
right.
Just kind of snap the baby up, you know what I mean?
What city is she in?
I think she's out of Las Vegas. Let me get her information, John. I think they're on I don't know if you're familiar with this guy. His name is the Bj Bay. I think that she was live on his show and she was talking about it, and I followed her.
Oh, Sabir in New York. The brother Sabir, is he Chicago or New York?
I think she's out of LA or something.
No, he ain't talking about him. He talking about the guy.
Yeah, the guy's from Philly. He's out of Philly. He's from Philly.
Okay. Well, I'll put my contact information in at the end. Okay. Because I had a situation like that. I helped the sister get her child back. She was in Atlanta. And even Judge Joe Brown. Judge Joe Brown was helping another sister recently. out of Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
this, I thank you, BJ, because this is important information that young ladies that may be having babies and don't understand why their baby's getting snatched and they don't have any legal representation and they don't know the law legally. So that's why I asked the question, because this could be happening and might happen to a young lady in the future. And this show and you giving this information needs to be heard worldwide, you know what I mean, on a big platform so they can know what steps they can take if they get caught up.
well, thank you for giving him the information, Shaq, and I'm gonna make sure when he put the email in the chat so you can get it.
All right,
yeah, because that's one of the things, right? That's one of the things we have to do. We really got to take our children and submit proper documentation. Everybody's submitting documentation, but a lot of the documentation has no law support or law base. And you can create whatever you want. You can create any organization you want. You can even say you're a government, all that kind of stuff. But the main thing is the so-called Black people of America are the owners of America, offspring or posterity of the Constitution, who are the posterity, and we are not walking in that, implementing that, and haven't got any documentation supporting that.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, I'm glad that he was able to bring up because he's been talking to me about it. So I'm glad that he, I got him to somebody who know a little bit more about it. Like I said, I've read about it, but I would have to, like I said, I let somebody with legal advice, bring that up. So I'm glad you was able to, kind of hash that out.
Yeah.
And by the way, the guy is in Las Vegas. To meet me.
Well,
I'm
gonna put my information because right now, because we're on this forum, I can't give legal advice.
Of course. Of course not.
We just have to see out another way.
But
and so
that's okay. I mean,
right.
I don't know if anybody else in the chat. I'll take one more call and then I gotta wrap up. But yeah, man. So what project? Oh, and by the way, I wanted to say the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Have you read that bill yet?
No, I'm gonna get a copy of it because I think that was the officer that they said he got off, or they're trying to bring new charges to him, something like that.
I think they're going to trial this week. Okay. So we got to see how to handle it. George Floyd, they passed a thing. Me personally, the chokehold thing is kind of like, if you want to ban it, fine. But most people ain't getting killed by chokehold. They're getting killed by gunshot by a police officer. So to me, that's another smoke screen. I think they said they can end qualified immunity, but we'll see about that. I just think that people need to take advantage and control their own police departments and stuff like that.
Well, that's all it used to be. The community. See, we don't have a community. It's like Dr. Claude Anderson said, we ain't got no communities. We got neighborhoods. These are neighborhoods we're in. We're not together. When I was growing up, we had a community. We had a community center. We had community leaders. And I grew up in the projects in the Bronx. And even in the Bronx, we had a community center. We had community leaders. We would have building meetings that everybody was invited to. And it was 11 buildings, so each building had its own meeting. And then we'd have a big meeting at the one of the community center to discuss how we're going to take care of our community. The police department was there. We were taking care of it. And we were the ones that dictated the policies and procedures to be implemented in our community. They're not doing that today. We're not doing that today.
Well, do me a favor. Put your email in the chat. So the people, because I do want people to be able to contact you, and get in contact with you. And I'm gonna give you a little. We had a little thing yesterday. We was on the Judge Joe Brown show. We were talking about we were talking about Jesse.
Did they see that?
Oh, well, I'm putting it in the chat now.
How do I put it in there for my side?
I've been trying to figure it out on that other side, but I'm putting it in. I got you 100%.
All right.
I'm already copied and pasted in the chat. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Paste this thing. Where's it pasted? Shoot. There it is. All right, that's his information in the chat. But yeah, we had a little something about Jesse Jackson. What's your thoughts on Jesse Jackson?
Jesse's he done too much damage from the day he said he was there when when Martin Luther King got shot. He been lying ever since. Because a lot of y'all don't remember. There was 60, I think it was 68 or 66, and King gets shot. The next day, Jesse's on a talk show with a red shirt, with a white shirt with so-called blood stains, saying he was there. He wasn't there. He was nowhere around. Because he was promised to be the next so-called leader of Martin Luther King, but they were going to, control him, but he never got it. They didn't give it to him. Hoover and all them, they decided not to use him. So, yeah, he's been a fraud.
I mean, it was interesting. It was an interesting debate, man. Me, shout out to Nurse Dawson and I forgot who else was on the call. They a lot. Oh, got a brother named West, and we had an interesting debate. So I mean, I just wanted to ask the question. I mean, it was something about the tie and how did Jesse leave on the airport? How did he get out when it was a curfew?
Right, and there was a curfew. Right, there was a curfew. No one was allowed to leave that was black. How the heck did you get out of town to go to?
We were talking about Hosea Williams and asking did Jesse help with the thing, even though I know he wasn't the mastermind, it was the government, but did he help or did he assist in any way with this killing?
Yeah.
We know he got out of town.
Yeah.
He was on talk show the next day. So I just wanted your thoughts. So I thought it'd be very interesting. Yeah, that's it. The Lorraine Motel.
1968.
Dr. William Pepper and stuff, right?
Who?
Dr. William Pepper.
William Pepper?
He came out of Yeah.
I don't know him, but I know you're talking about.
Yeah. But he was talking about the case, and we talked about your buddy Billy Cowles and Jesse. And some people say both of them was involved. Some people say it was just Billy Cowles. The question we just asking, how did Jesse leave town? But it was a curfew. I did go back and check on the information on that.
Yeah, and there's a
but Jesse's promoting the vaccine too.
Yeah, see, I can't go with none of that. I don't care who. I wouldn't care if Jesus Christ was promoting the vaccine. I'm not taking it.
Well, look, Dr. Bey, like I said, it's always a pleasure to bring you on.
Yes, sir.
And I just want you to, take your time, enjoy your day. You've been always love when you come on. I got to get you on at least once a month and talk about a lot of issues because a lot of things coming down the pike. Marxism, communism is on the way. It's coming nonstop.
And see, the other thing is, like Judge Joe Brown, I'm studying the law. I'm watching what they write, what the Congress is writing. So I'm pulling those. I'm pulling those down. And these are the things, these congressional acts is what we're totally unfamiliar with. And these are the things that's going to do us in because they're slaving us with the power of the pen. The pen is mightier than the sword. We don't know how to yield that weapon called the pen.
Well, next time you come on,
I'm gonna have some of the executive orders and some of that stuff.
Well, let's try to do it. I'm gonna try to do it maybe next week, possibly, and you get the executive orders and you read probably the points you need to put in. I'm gonna bring you back real soon and bring them on, because I got some more study to do on them myself. But just bring it on. Then we bring on the Equality Act and we bring up HR 1446. So I get back with touch with you in the weekend. We're gonna do it again. You take your time.
Peace and Afro Greece to the brother and sisterhood.
Thank you, sir.
All right.